wizards, witches, warlocks, sorcerers, and other splendid spell slingers. The other night, I cracked some Timespiral packs. I was half asleep and I tried to record. Didn't work out so well, so I'm going to show you some of those cards that I cracked. I cracked some pretty decent ones. And then we're going to crack open a few packs today. Also, if anybody's interested, I'm going to do some videos on how to identify fakes and counterfeit cards using a little electric microscope I bought off of Amazon for like 18 bucks. But you can do it with like a kid's microscope. I have a little kid's microscope there in the corner sitting on the table that I use to spot fakes and a couple other things. It's rare that I get fakes because I typically look at who I'm buying from and a lot of things like that, but every once in a while, you know, some stuff passes even the best sources and it ends up at your table just because of, you know, complacency on some end, and sometimes just it gets snuck into a batch and some people just spot test. They're like, alright, I got 20 cards, let me check 2 or 3 of these. Alright, they're all good, let me shove them away. But without further ado, we'll start looking at some of the cards. I'm going to start off with like the one that I was like, why did I get this? But I guess it does work with cards like Lab Maniac and stuff like that. So we're going to start off with so we'll start off with Leveler. Let me adjust this a little bit. Thank you guys for being patient with me. And if you're not patient with me, I apologize. Let me give you guys a little bit of vertigo here for a second. I don't have a very good setup. I'm still using my boar skull as a stand. But Leveler has, when Leveler enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your library. And the flavor text is, once a century, the Leveler rips through every corner of Mirrodin, obeying the commands of an unseen master. I really don't know who that unseen master is, but what I do know is that with Lab Maniac, you can win the game with this. Yeah, and you can also use it in a card that it is a 10/10. So let's say you have a card that says somebody enchants you with spell or active abilities of artifacts you control don't work, or enter the battlefield, effects of artifacts you own entering, or opponents own entering the battlefield don't work, then you can use that against that person and you'll have a 10/10 creature on the field. But here we go. We're going to go through the pile of cards that I cracked open last night. So we got Rada, Heir to the Keld. And I put the rares, the mythics, and the time-shifted cards in here. I didn't put all the foils because some of the foils were just commons and it wasn't worth it, because I normally go way too lengthy on my videos. But Rada, Heir to the Keld. Whenever Heir to the Keld attacks, you may add red, tap, add red. And it's an elf warrior. It's a green and a red, so Gruul for a 2/2 elf warrior. I like Rada, Heir to the Keld. I have one of her other cards. I think it's Rada, Heart of the Keld. I can't remember if it's from Dominaria or War. I think it's from Dominaria. Here we have Paradoxical Outcome, time-shifted card. Instant, 3 colorless and a blue. Return any number of target non-land, non-token permanents you control to their owner's hand. Draw a card for each card returned to your hand this way. The results of Rashma's experimentation forced her to consider the possibility that multitudinous realities exist beyond her own control. Sorry guys, the camera keeps trying to adjust. Well, I don't know if it's the camera or my computer, but something's jacking me up and I don't have my glasses on. I have no idea where my glasses are. I haven't seen them in months. Glittering Wish. You may reveal a multicolored card from you own from outside the game. You put it into your hand. Exile Glittering Wish. So recently we had cards like this, and those were they were from Ikoria, the companion mechanic that they put in there. They errated it to make it to where they cost a little extra. They have to be in your sideboard. Commander doesn't have a sideboard, so there's a whole big hubbub to do about that in the community. There's still issues with it. I just don't play with companions unless I have them in my deck. But I know some people do use the outside the game thing. I just don't find it worth it. But we have the learn mechanic in Strixhaven coming up that is very similar, where you can get learn cards from outside the game. So, yeah, they've been trying to push outside the game cards because back in the game there wasn't a deck. Back in the game's history, there wasn't a deck size, and there wasn't a card, restriction on how many of a card you could have. That came with progress and having issues with certain cards and things like that. They put those restrictions into the game. But when Richard Garfield was first making the game, there's a couple interviews that he talks about this in with Mark Rosewater on Mark Rosewater's Driving to Work blog, where he talks about how these mechanics didn't exist in the beginning of the game. I think they were talking about the Arabian Nights sets, but yeah, these restrictions, such as how many cards you could have in the deck or how big the deck were, those didn't exist back in the day. So, and Commander being a format that is not under WotC's direct control, there are sometimes issues with the mechanics, especially under the design that is now WotC standard versus when WotC had a big R&D section. Now it's more like, just throw cards out there and we'll see what happens. But yeah, Disdainful Stroke, 1 colorless, 1 blue, counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. And then, you are beneath contempt. Your lineage will be forgotten. I like that. I like the art on it too. I don't know if the art's a Nog. I think it's a Nog because it's only got 2 arms. I think all the snake creature people have 4 arms typically, or I don't know if that was just Kamigawa, but yeah, I dig it. Tomb Stalker. So we have 6 colorless and 2 black for a 5/5 demon with flying, and it has delve. Each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1 of its costs, 1 colorless. When it ran out of bodies, it broke down the crypt door and sought new sustenance. I love that flavor text, and I love the artwork. Nice card. I dig it. Repeal, so we got more blue counter stuff going on. We have X colorless and 1 blue for an instant that says return target non-land permanent with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand. Draw a card. And then your deed cannot be undone. You, however, can be. I like that flavor text. That's neat. Let's see. I'm trying not to give away the big card that I got yesterday. Coalition Relic. Coalition Relic. Add 1 mana of any color. Put a charge counter on a Coalition Relic. So you tap for 1 mana, or you can tap to put a charge counter on it. It costs 3 colorless, and the text says, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all charge counters from Coalition Relic. Add 1 mana of any color for each charge counter removed this way. And here was one of the big cards yesterday. I got a Tarmogoyf. I don't have a Tarmogoyf at the moment, and I was looking at buying one a while ago when I was building a green deck. But I never finished up that deck because I changed up what I was building. So I'm stoked to get this. And Tarmogoyf, for those of you who don't know, which I think most of you do know, is a 1 colorless, 1 green Lurgoyf creature with Tarmogoyf's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards. Its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. What does not grow dies, and what dies grows Tarmogoyf. I love that flavor text. I love the new art. Absolutely love the new art. Even more so than that, I love the art on the box. But I heard, I think it was Mark Rosewater or Gavin Verhey. No, I think it was Gavin Verhey talking about how the art on the boxes doesn't always go well on the cards. It doesn't fit well. It doesn't go with the cards well. So sometimes they put the art on the box and then they change it up for the card, because it doesn't look good on the card. So I cracked a Tamir Ascendancy a while ago, and I cracked another one today. And Tamir Ascendancy is green, blue, red. Creatures you control have haste. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. It's an enchantment. It's good in decks that like it. I mean, that's it. It's not always good. It's got a place, and it allows card draw in, you know, a blue, green, red deck. So yeah, I mean, anything that allows card draw and that stays on the field is good to me, just in its deck. And this was my favorite card of everything I drew. I was looking up the prices on this. It's a foil ponder, foil time shifted ponder. It's going for like $3.95 right now. That is wild to me, just because of the limited print one. But I do really love that art. You know, you got the phases of the moon going on. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order you may shuffle your library. I'm having such a struggle with whether to put this in a deck, whether to save it. I don't know what to do right now. Whether to sell it. But you know, like, cards, if they don't reprint this set, which they're saying they're not going to, and I don't see the card going down too much. So yeah. And then we got Lotus Bloom. They had an alternate art Lotus Bloom for the box promo, but because one of the boxes that I bought, I paid $88 for, which was actually this box, because I pre-ordered a Commander Legends box back in, I think, November or something like that, and I never got the box. And so the people were waiting for them to get new Commander Legends and all that at the store. They never did, so they offered a replacement of either Timespiral or Strixhaven. I already had pre-ordered a box of Strixhaven, so I got Timespiral, and this was before, like, the prices went through the roof. It was when they were just, like, announcing the set. They were like, hey, you know, we'll offer you this or we'll offer you that. I was like, yeah, I'll take a box of box of Timespiral, and boom, the prices went through the roof, and I am so glad I opted for a box of Timespiral. And then we have Panharmonicon. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger the abilities an additional time. I read that all wrong, but I will read it again. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And the flavor text reads, all who listen hear their own song, a unique melody played for just them. I love that. And it is a 4 colorless cost for this artifact. Yeah. So let's see what time we're running at. So we're at 13 minutes. So I think we can crack open a pack on screen. So we'll go through the commons a little speedy, that way you guys aren't stuck. I'll read out the names and the cost. So we have Erratic Mutation for 2 colorless and a blue. We have Grape Shot. I love Grape Shot. Grape Shot deals 1 damage to any target, and it has Storm. Storm is a mechanic that causes so much trouble in Magic. When you cast this spell, copy it for each spell cast before this turn. You may choose new targets for copies of this spell, and this deals 1 damage to any target, and it costs 1 colorless and 1 red. But that is 1 colorless with Storm, so you could do so much damage with this. Alright, we have Sacramite Mire. We have Corpulent Pus, but Corpulent Corpse, which has Fear. This creature can't be blocked except by an artifact creature or black creatures. They had Fear, they had Intimidate, now they have Menace. That's kind of like the history of mechanics in that realm. Here we have Citadel Wood Readers. It doesn't have any. I'm just going to read the abilities of things that, you know, we don't see much of anymore. Like, this one has This one just gives a 1/1. It said Shade of Choke here. I thought it was going to be like a shadow creature or something. Ancient Grudge, destroy target artifact. It's one of Red's favorite moves, and then it's got flashback for a green. That is a Gruul card in Identity, so you can't use it in a mono red deck. Or in EDH, you can't use it in a mono red deck. Because it wouldn't be a mono red deck anymore. Gemhide Slivers. Amro Seekers, nice little Kithkin. Those are my people. You know, we're both tiny. Outrider and Core. They have the N-Cores and the N-Vec. I don't know the history of the N creatures. And then we have Shaper Parasite. It's got Morph. You can, for 2 and a blue, you may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature, and then for 3 colorless, turn it face up for its morph cost. When Shaper Parasite is turned face up, target creature gets +2, -2, or -2, +2. So you can use it against others or use it for your guys. Primal Force Mage. And we have Angel of Salvation, has flash and convoke. Your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 or more of that creature's color. Flying, when Angel of Salvation enters the battlefield, prevent the next 5 damage that would be dealt this turn to any number of targets divided as you choose. That is Angel of Salvation, a 6 colorless and 2 white cost for a 5/5. But remember, you can convoke the creature, and it's got flash. I love things with flash. Our time-shifted card is Exquisite Firecraft. Exquisite Firecraft deals 4 damage to any target. Spell mastery. If there are 2 or more instance or sorcery cards in your graveyard, this spell can't be countered. And it's 1 colorless and 2 red, and you're going to end up with instants and sorceries in your graveyard. So having an uncounterable spell on red, especially for playing against blue players, yeah, definitely use this. Yes, we have a foil Sliver Legion. I am stoked. All creatures get +1/+1 for each other sliver on the battlefield. I dig that. Hidden within clicking, chittering swarm is a unique mind, still young but growing, more unaware as time passes. I love Sliver Legion. I don't have any Sliver Commanders, but now I do. Let's see, we'll do, I think we have time for 1 more pack. Hell yes, I am so stoked we got Sliver Legion, and don't worry, that's going straight into sleeves. So we have Piracy Charm. That is an instant. Bone Splitter Sliver. I'm only going to read the cards that have like abilities that we don't normally see much, or that are just cards of interest to me. Gorgon Recluse has Madness. If you cast this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its Madness cost, or put it into your graveyard. And that is 2 black for its Madness cost. Evolving Charm. I love Evolving Charm. It allows you to search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, or no, put it into your hand. Sorry, I lied. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or target creature gains flying until end of turn. I like that it's got a couple different modes, and all of them are good and green. So it's perfect for what it is. Blight Speaker, Human Rebel Cleric. We have Psychotic Episode, Story of My Life. Orcish Cannonade. I don't like Orcish Cannonade. We have Swindler Sliver. Sidewinder Sliver. I don't know why I said Swindler. Giant Dusk Wasp. We have these in Florida, I'm pretty sure. Sunlance. I love the artwork. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that before, of a dragon getting solar beamed in the stomach. Actually, I don't know if that's a dragon because it didn't have arms, it just had legs. I think those, I don't know what those are classified as. Keen sense. I can't remember if those are classified as worms. No, not worms. Worms have no wings. I think those are classified as drakes. Mystical teachings. Smallpox. Diabolic Task Mage. I absolutely love Diabolic Task Mage. She's a human spell shaper. I mean, I have both Diabolic Task Mage and the Planeswalker card, but I dig Diabolic Task Mage. She has discard a card, destroy target, blue permanent, so that's great against, you know, some enchantments. Discard a card, Diabolic Task Mage deals 3 damage to any target. A creature dealt damage this way can't be regenerated this turn. And then it's got discard a card, Diabolic deals 6 damage to each creature and each player, but that is for 5, and that is 5 colorless and 7 for what? It's 7 altogether, but it's 5 colorless and 2 red for the last mode, which is the deal 6 damage to each creature and player. 1 colorless and a red for the second mode, which is deals 3 damage to any target. And then it can't be regenerated. And the first one is 1 red for target blue, destroy target blue permanent. And she is a 2/2 for 1 colorless and 2 red, but I could totally, I am using her in a deck, actually. And then we have our time shifted card, her Harvester of Souls. I actually got a couple of these in my Jumpstart packs, but it is a 4 colorless and 2 black demon for death touch. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. I love the art on this card. I don't know how useful it is for its cost, but I'd use it. Let's be real. I like the card. And then I don't know how none of the other cards are bent, but this token happens to be bent. It's a sapling token. And we're going to open up our last pack. And I think next week we will do once I figure out the microscope, how to identify counterfeit cards and such. Oh, almost giving away the big. So we have snap back. You may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Alright, I don't know what's going on here. My floors must be, well, my floors aren't even, I know this, but I don't know why the card just sliding. Battering Sliver. We have Logic Knot. Evolution Charm. Blight Speaker again. Blade of the Sixth Pride. A Cat Rebel. More rebels for your Rebel Tribal if you wanted to do. Tendrils of Corruption. Mana Tithe. Mana Tithe is 1 white for counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. Crook Claw Transmuter is a bird wizard. Birdman. Dirkwood Baloth. Meyer Boa. Got Swamp Walk and Regenerate. It is a 2/1 for 1 colorless and a green. And then Regenerate is 1. The next time this creature would be destroyed, instead, tap it, remove it from combat, and heal all damage on it. Poultice Sliver. All slivers have 2 regenerate target sliver. And we just read what regenerate is. And this is a 2/2 for 2 colorless and a white. I like Poultice Sliver. Skittering Monstrosity. When is a 5/5 for 3 and 2 black when you cast creature spells, sacrifice Skittering Monstrosity. I wouldn't use this, it doesn't pass the vanilla test. I see no use. Angel's Grace, I love the art on Angel's Grace. The whole split screen, because it's got split second with the demons on one side and then her obliterating a demon on the other side. Split second is as long as the spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. You can't lose the game this turn. Your opponents can't win the game this turn until the end of turn. Damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. And then Monastery Swift Spear is our time shifted card. It is a 1 red for a 1/2 with haste and prowess. Prowess reads whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets 1/1 until end of turn. And the flavor text read, the calligraphy of combat is written with strokes of sudden blood. I love that flavor text. I love this card. It works in my white decks. It passes the flavor text. It has haste. It has prowess. It's a good card altogether. Especially in a, red, mono red, smack 'em in the face deck. But thank you guys for joining me. You have a fantastic night. I hope you enjoyed watching.